I doubt very much if we end up surviving after 200 years. We're going to be extinct.
We live in a world that is changing profoundly and fast, and that is facing threats that seem apocalyptic to us.
What's the solution?
Answer is in the health. I will never see an allopathic medicine doctor. They don't know anything about health.
The Food and Drug Administration is currently advising against using these antibiotics. They say patients are suffering from nerve damage, irregular heartbeats, depression, and seizures because of the medication.
The problem is that when you give the antibiotics, you think that because you give the antibiotics, you got better sooner, but absolutely not. You're gonna pay later.
So why are people living longer?
You know, heart disease starts at the age of 10. Cancer starts at the age of 10, 15. They're living with pain, with headaches, back pain. They're living with knee pain. They're living with diabetes. We are not living longer. We are suffering longer. Dying is not a natural process. You die of a disease. If you eliminate the disease, you can live to be 200. The point of it is, why does the body get sick? Simply because we don't.
Dr. Moshe Goldsmith,
Good morning.
welcome back.
Thank you for inviting me back.
By popular demand.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Doctor, we're going to do this on a regular basis. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Last time we spoke, you got me thinking. You got me thinking about why is it that people are so... I've rarely had such a response from a post as I did when you and I, during our interview. It kind of disrupted people. It poked at people. Why do you think that is? Why do you think... Because what you said to me made sense. Why is it pisses people off when they hear sometimes common sense, in my view?
Well, let's go back to, I think the answer is in the health. When your health is disrupted and it's not as at its optimum, what happens is that the brain end up becoming inflamed, and your subconscious, which is connected to your gut, becomes non-functional. So your decisions, your opinions, your thoughts, your perceptions, even the perception to reality, especially the truth, becomes unbearable. Imagine you go up to a person and say, "My dear, I love you," just like you say all the time. But you do that to me sometimes. You say, "I love you, but this is the truth about things the way it should be." I take it.
By the way, I never say but, I always say and.
and
I love you and
yes,
no but.
absolutely. And I love that about you. You say to me, "I love you, and this is the right way." And I take it as truth. And I think about it as irritating as it may be, it's not to me, because my mind functions in a way that nature intended to be constructive, to be gentle, to be kind, to be truthful, and qualities that a human being should have, what defines us as humans. Because of the body being unhealthy, whatever you tell it, especially the mind, it rejects it.
So you don't think it's the brainwashed scenario, that people are so brainwashed that the guy in the white coat has all the answers?
The guy in the white coat has no answers. The tide is out and the emperor is naked. We know that allopathic medicine, the guys that wear the white, have no idea about the body. Hence the education in their medical school, hence their training of the doctors. They are there to manage disease because it's profitable. However, when you tell them,
But they don't know it themselves, do they? They've also been brainwashed, right?
what?
Because
Look,
the whole education system is based on selling medicine.
what,
Right,
absolutely.
by the pharmaceutical companies.
Absolutely.
So even if I went to the doctors in the white coats, they will argue the point, no, they're there to give, but they've been brainwashed. The way they've been educated is to
The whole system
deal
is
with the
is-
disease, right?
Yes, the whole system is upside down. Okay, let's just put it this way. I go to medical school. I learn how to manage disease, and I push the doctors. Why? Because that medical school is supported by the pharmaceutical company, and it's owned by the pharmaceutical company. The last time we discussed what we said, Rockefeller, which was the father of medicine and medical school and education.
Yes.
Okay. How did he think about, what did he think about the doctors? He said, they're all quacks. This is Rockefeller's, the father, own words. They said, well, you're sick. You don't go to see the doctors? He goes, they're quacks. I have my own medicines in my cabinet. Well, I've got news for you. I make my own medicines in my cabinet. I will never see an allopathic medicine doctor, not just because I'm a doctor, because I believe in the fact that they don't know anything about health.
What percentage of doctors out there in the market are like you?
Fortunately, every day there is more and more and more coming. They realize that the education that they got in medical school was absolutely faulty. In the early 1900s, people were dying in the 30s and 40s. Well, there came the vaccination and there came the antibiotics. After that, people lived to be up to years 1670. Take those two things away, medicine has done nothing for the people. Absolutely nothing for the people. You might say, well, those are two big accomplishments. Really? Okay, let's look at those two big accomplishments. Let's bring those professors who are actually claiming that to be the case. Antibiotics. What's the problem with antibiotics now? Superbugs. Superbugs. Where do superbugs come from? The environment, the antibiotic is the cause of it. Now, imagine this, when you give antibiotics, to the broad spectrum antibiotics to somebody to treat an infection, what happens? 3 months passes until the body gets over that antibiotics for 1 week, 2 weeks, 14 days.
I know that, like, my wife had antibiotics when she was pregnant, and my son has got really bad teeth.
Well, why do you think that?
I don't know.
I tell you the reason why.
And they say it's because she took antibiotics. And
Yes, because first of all, it took antibiotics. Okay, wiped off the flora from her gut, and also in the vagina. And what happens is, frequently when we give antibiotics, when I used to give antibiotics 20 years ago, I haven't given one antibiotic to anyone for 20 years. When that happens, the flora changes. The pathogens that are resistant to the antibiotic live, and the natural, gentle bacteria that's in the gut, in the mouth, in the vagina, they die. What takes their place? Fungus, viruses, and bad bacteria that causes disease, such as C. diff colitis, which is called C. diff. Okay? Now, what happens then? The child comes out. And the child does not have the friendly bacteria that inoculates the nose and the mouth. And as a result of it, they are predisposed to asthma, allergies, dermatitis, all kinds of brain problems, learning disabilities, autism, attention deficit disorder, and many, many, many more. Just because of that irresponsible physician giving somebody antibiotics for a viral illness. What your wife had was a viral illness. upper respiratory infection, commonly a viral illness. Antibiotics don't work for the viruses. But the doctor says, okay, well, if I don't give antibiotics, she's going to think that I'm a quack. So I'll give it so I can save my hide. And then unfortunately, he's right too, because she's going to go home and tell her husband, I went to the doctor and he said, take echinacea. What kind of a physician is he? He doesn't give it. So you see, it's the whole system, the whole educational system, the whole society is on the wrong path. Human beings in 200 years, I doubt very much if we end up surviving after 200 years. It's just going to be, we're going to be extinct.
Doctor, people are listening, watching now. They get inspired, some get angry, but they get emotionally charged by listening to you. And I do also. But the question they're asking is the question they're asking is, what can I do if I don't want to give my children antibiotics or my pregnant wife antibiotics? So what do I have what's the solution?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Is it different answers to each?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take COVID. They did a study after the COVID virus, and they realized that people they went retroactive, they do meta-analysis. When they do meta-analysis, they went back and said, wait a minute, this is interesting. People who had topped up under vitamin D, topped up under vitamin C, and were not diabetic, and did not have any other like obesity and high blood pressure and heart disease, they never made it to the hospital. They got over it themselves. No chronic COVID, no issues with their respiratory system, no failure, no ICU, nothing. So there's the answer. Make sure your vitamin C is up to par. So, and I don't mean taking these vitamin C's that you put in the thing and bubbles. No. Eat more fruits. Blueberries, strawberries, oranges, and things like that. Okay. Second thing, vitamin D. Now, why did diabetics were predisposed to COVID and actually ended up most of them dying? Simply because of this. Malnutrition. The antivirals, the Panadols that were giving for the fever, and so on and so forth. Masks did nothing, zero, nada, zilch to prevent COVID. COVID went on doing its thing to the people who were malnourished. That's the reason why. This weekend, I took my 7-month-old baby to Fujairah. Why? To get away from here? No. For a therapeutic reason. I took him up there and I put him on top of one of those hills to sit there where the goats were peeing and defecating and eating and all of that. Why? So that he can pick up the probiotics from the Mother Earth and put it in his mouth as he did with the rocks and stuff like that. Of course, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, right? I'm sure you're thinking, are you lost your mind? Well, my friend, there was a study done with people that they took them and just put their hands inside dirt. That was the study. They did put their hands inside the dirt and they said, okay, stay here for an hour, come on out, just wash your hands with water, go eat with the same thing, no soap, no nothing. And they realized they lived longer, they had less respiratory problems, they had less mouth decay. Your son discussing mouth decay is because his mouth, the bacteria inside his mouth was not the correct one. And by the way, recently the bacteria that is identified to cause Alzheimer's happens to live in the mouth. Why? because of the antibiotic inside the toothpaste, the Colgates, and Crests, and all these
Fluoride.
nonsense, plus the fluoride in the water. They say to us that fluoride, I mean, you bring this point. They say fluoride is good for our teeth, right? Nonsense. Fluoride is a byproduct of fertilizers. They don't, because the fertilizers at the time had these smokestacks, and they were burning it, and it was coming out as acid rain. So they came up with this story. Let's go sell this story to the politicians that the fluoride is good for our teeth. And they had the American Dental Association say, okay, why? Because they paid under the table for them to do it. So they testified that fluoride is good for the children's teeth, so that we can put the byproduct of what is left for fertilizers added to the city water. That is the truth. You want to get upset with me? Oh, please do. Come and talk to me. Come and tell me if I'm wrong. Don't get upset. Upset is an irrational emotion that happens when you don't have an answer for the thing that the person is telling you. You want to get upset? Get upset. But if you wanted to have a discussion, let's have a discussion.
One of the things, thanks, doctor. One of the things is when people are sick, they want quick solutions, and they find probably antibiotics is a quicker to turn a unhealthy, malnourished body into a healthy one that can resist certain ailments. How long does it take?
Well, actually, not
Seems
true.
like a longer process, right?
No, whether you give the antibiotics or you don't, the body goes through that process of healing on its own. The problem is that when you give the antibiotics, you think that because you gave the antibiotics, you got better sooner, but absolutely not. You're going to pay later. And how are you going to pay later? 2 weeks later, you develop diarrhea. We see that in the hospital with C. diff colitis. We see that in the hospital with Alzheimer's. Why is Alzheimer's on the rise? Because your parents, not, I'm just talking about the person in general, their parents, okay, they develop Alzheimer's as a result of the bugs that are wrong bugs in the mouth. In the mouth. The problem is that is a wrong assumption. That is actually not true. And we see because you don't see the other side. They did these studies. People who were given a placebo, sugar pill, got better at the same time as the people who were getting the antibiotics. The sugar pill ones, at least they didn't develop the side effects of diabetes, side effects of antibiotics. And they did. It is not true. That's a fallacy. That is a fallacy that, I get better sooner and that's a fallacy. That's just not true.
The drips that we have for different vitamins and so forth, are they as healthy, are they as pure as the ones you get in fruits and food?
No. But here's the problem. It's a better alternative. Why is it a better alternative? It's because if I give you that IV in 30 minutes, actually you bring an excellent point. God, those questions are just so deep, and the answers are so deep. Look, when you take, for instance, just for the sake of an example, you think smoothies are good for you, right? Because it's got fruits, kale, other vegetables in there and all of that, which has all the vitamin C's and D's and all these K2s and all of that, right? Okay. In order for you to get the same amount of vitamin C and pentatoic acid and all these things, it will take you 12 cups of fruits to get the same amount.
As in the
IV.
IV.
Okay, so
it's a concentrated.
It's a concentrated, and also it's that you're never going to finish that 12. You may finish 3 or 4 of those fruits. The rest you're going to say, you know what? I don't have patience for this. I'm not going to eat. Imagine this. The same thing. In order for you to get the same amount of calories, this is amazing, right? Same amount of calories in a Coca-Cola, dietary, dietary people that say this, right? Calories in, calories out. That's how you lose weight. Bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that or not.
You can say bullshit.
Okay, bullshit. Why? Coca-Cola went to the American Dietary Association and said, calories are calories. You can give the same amount of calories. You have to eat 12 cups of carrots to get the same amount of calories that you get from the Coca-Cola. Why do you think people reach for the Coca-Cola? To get energy and boost, just kind of boost their system. In the middle of the day, they're all hungry, they're kind of down, and they're not either feeling shaky or that. They reach for the Coca-Cola, not the carrots. Why? Because the carrots, it takes 12 cups of carrots to get the same amount of calories as Coca-Cola. Except carrots have vitamin A, C, all the phytonutrients that there are that is going to prevent you from having disease. And what does Coca-Cola do? Coca-Cola gives you diabetes, Alzheimer's, kills all the gut probiomes all the way down from the mouth, all the way down to the anus. And what happens? You become unhealthy. This idea of probiotics, it is so important that we need to spend a little bit of time to discuss it. Probiotics are the machines that run your body and keep it healthy. They produce hormones, they have direct contact to your brain, to your eyes, and all that. Now, the most important part of your body, the eyes, one of the most important part, not the most important, but one of the most important. What's in the middle is called macula, okay? And if you take the macula of a rat and open it up and look at it, you know what you see there? The same lutein that's inside the spinach ends up there. That makes you see at night. So macular degeneration, which is a disease on the rise, is because what? Because we are eating processed food, Coca-Cola, KFC, McDonald's, all these other things to enrich the eyeglass companies, the ophthalmologists, and everybody else. Eat your spinach and you will see well at night. If eat your carrots, you will see well at night. And at the same time, you know what they do? When you eat the vegetables, the lutein goes to the brain, and that brain starts thinking calmly, peacefully, and then starts thinking healthier, make better decisions. Then the relationships get better. Then the friendships get deeper. Then people end up living longer. They would need less and less medicines. And then hopefully the pharmaceutical companies go out of business. Inshallah.
They love you.
I hate them.
These conferences, are there conferences for doctors such as yourself?
Yeah, no, there are.
Around the world. Are they getting busier, bigger?
They're getting, the regenerative medicine, functional medicine doctors, they are becoming bigger and bigger. Now we are going to form an international list of doctors that practice this kind of medicine, and then we're going to hopefully it's going to be on the website, and medicine, and people can look into getting it. But you see, this is the problem. The problem is even a doctor who is trained in functional medicine and in regenerative medicine, even then, they try to conform to the patient rather than trying to do patiently converting the patient into what he should do. In other words, they say, well, they assume, oh, she's not going to do this. She's not going to eat 12 cups of carrots. She's not going to do this and all that. So, okay, I mean, let's go meet her halfway. Well, you know what? It doesn't work. Because when you meet halfway, half a cup of Coca-Cola basically sets you back for 2 weeks. It kills, it's poison. It's poison, the saccharin and all the sugar that's in there is just poison. So it is important that just eat whole food, vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, and make sure that you have your Edacine in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever. Take 2 spoons of apple cider vinegar before you eat. Make sure you eat salad before you eat anything else.
Not after.
Not after. If you protein. And yes, you're going to love this. Avoid meat, avoid fish, except high-fat fish like sardines and mackerel. Avoid any kind of chicken. Chicken is the worst meat in the world in terms of causing heart disease. And it's full of hormones. And avoid eggs. Eggs are, and milk and dairies. Milk and dairies. These foods should be avoided at all costs. They're causing damage, they're causing our children damage, and they're retarding their growth and mental capabilities. And learning disability they're causing learning disability.
So why are people living longer?
Great question. We talked about it just a few minutes ago.
No, if antibiotics are not good for you.
Yeah.
So why are people living longer?
Okay.
Or are they living longer but unhealthy? Or are they? Is cancer on the rise? Did people die of cancer 200-300 years ago?
Well, yeah. No, much less.
Mm-hmm.
Much less. Because cancer, heart disease starts at the age of 10. Cancer starts at the age of 10, 15. This is why I say, take care of your children. Feed them with whole food. Now, you mentioned, that's a great question, actually, and which we alluded to just a few minutes ago. The advent of antibiotics and the advent of vaccinations reduced chickenpox, polio, and mumps and certain other diseases that were typically killing children and even adults. And antibiotics, because of syphilis and some other issues,
penicillin. They've done good in certain areas.
They've done, okay, I don't know if you call it good, but let me ask you something. How many 38-year-olds do you know, you call that living? They're living with pain. They're living with headaches. They're living with migraine. They're living with back pain. They're living with knee pain. They're living with arthritis. They're living with diabetes. Children at the age of 10 or 15, they're living with diabetes. They're living longer because we eliminated polio and now immunization. Except now, here's the thing, my 7-month-old will never get vaccinated. I will teach him at home, homeschool him. He will never get vaccinated. Studies after studies after studies, go check PubMed. Studies after studies show clearly that children that don't get vaccinated, my 15-year-old, who's a YouTube influencer, is 15 years old. He's about 100,000 followers. And every day he puts another video, and then he's becoming more creative. He didn't get vaccinated. And he's 15 years old. Where's the polio? Where's the mumps? Where's all that? My 7-month-old is not going to get vaccinated for that reason. These diseases have been eradicated. We are still paranoid with those. We still live in the 1930s when it comes to that. So you ask people why people are living longer. People are living longer because the cause of death that was
in the
1930s to the 40s, that has been eradicated.
Do you think there'll be a time where people will live to be 200, 250?
Absolutely. We used to live that long. Neanderthals and early human beings, until they started making spears and eating the meat of other animals, which is one of the most inflammatory type of proteins that causes diabetes. Meat, mark my words, meat causes diabetes. People think just sugar alone causes diabetes. No, meat causes diabetes because it stimulates insulin response. Until the early human beings started hunting, until they were hunter and gatherers, they were 2 and 3 meters tall. And then, how did they get that tall? How did they get to be that big? Growth spurs. Why? Because they were exposed to sunlight, they ate berries, they fasted, called autophagy, which causes autophagy. They ate seasonal fruits. Now we have watermelons in the middle of winter. What is this? We have cantaloupes. They've all been, and then put these tomatoes, cantaloupes, all that inside vinegar and see what happens. Oh, the color that has been injected into these to look yellow and look appetizing, and all of that is out. Why does these avocados are so bad? The other day I bought avocados from Spinneys to feed my child in the morning with his kefir yogurt. What happens? I open it up. Black parts everywhere. Fungus growing out of everywhere. And I paid 35 dirham for each one. The issue is we are not living longer. We are suffering longer. We are suffering with all kinds of diseases. We are just kidding ourselves that we are living longer. We are prolonged. The body is so resilient that is trying to fight everything that you're throwing at it and repair, because it's a repair machine. However, the last thing is that you cannot go to the grocery store and say, I want fruits and blueberries. And you go reach for beet and KFC and Arby's and Burger King and all of that.
Doctor, one of my close members of my family had shingles.
Yes.
And they were in terrible pain.
Yes.
Now, suddenly, I never even thought about it. I said, if you're over 50, you should have this vaccine.
Yes.
For shingles. What do you say to that?
Okay.
It's on the radio, it's on TV, it's on posters around the city.
Sure.
Should I go and have a vaccine?
Absolutely
for
not.
Shingles? No.
Absolutely not. Why? Because what's the vaccine? A vaccine is when you give it the body the ability to recognize the infection when it comes, to treat, right? Shingle is already in you. You don't get it from anybody else unless you touch the wound, yes. Unless that's contagious. But chicken pox you got as a child is in your spine. In everybody's spine. You don't get it from the air. You don't get it from air conditioning or touching anybody. No, that's how it happens. Now, when does it happen? When you're malnourished, just like COVID. When you're malnourished, when you're stressed, processed food, and your vitamin C level is low, vitamin D level is low, your sun exposure is low. And
you're tired, maybe not getting
sleep. You're tired, you're not getting enough sleep. All of these kind of things predisposes. And that vaccines does nothing for you. Absolutely nothing for you. There are studies after studies that shows no difference between people who got the vaccine, people who didn't get the vaccine. If they were exposed to stress, vaccinated people got just as much recurrence of this, because this is a recurrence. This is not an infection that you get. This is a recurrence of infection when your immune system is low.
Mm-hmm. It comes out.
And it comes out because your immune system is already knows it's there. What are you trying to tell the body? Oh, yeah, in case you get exposed to chicken pox, well, you have it. It's in your system. It's in your spine and other lymphatics. Okay, it's under control.
So work on your immune.
Work on your immune system. Mm-hmm. Yes, what is vaccination? Working on the immune system, right? Is giving the immune system a nudge. Oh, wait a minute, I've got it, because it's a live virus, right? It's part of. Then you give it.
So they introduce shingles to the body.
They introduce it into the bloodstream. Because see, as long as it's not in the bloodstream, right? It's not, as long as the particles of the virus are not in the bloodstream. The body doesn't get alert that, oh, wait a minute, there's an infection going on. No. Only when the virus becomes live and it starts replicating because the immune system is down, and the immune system is not holding it down, just let off the gas here, so to speak, and then the virus starts replicating. That's because of your immune system.
That's nothing to do with it. The vaccine introduces that virus into the bloodstream, right?
Yes.
For the body to...
And then it fools the body into thinking that, oh, wait a minute, there's an infection going on. Of course. Then at that point, all these cells that have a memory, because we have memory cells, white cells, we have memory cells. They remember the chickenpox. When you were a child, you were exposed to chickenpox. Those memory cells are released, and then
they're active.
They become, it becomes active. Then the body reacts to it. The point of it is, why does the body get sick? Whether it is polio, whether it is shingles, whether it is cancer, whether it is this and that. Why? Simply because we don't eat enough vegetables to help fight these things. Processed food is what causes cancer. Is on the rise. We give on average to cancer patients, we give maybe 6 months, 9 months, maybe maximum. Well, go look at the studies. Even Anderson Clinic in Texas, one of the most scientifically based, quote unquote, right? I mean, they don't have a hand in the pharmaceutical company pocket and the chemotherapy pocket. Okay, God forbid, right? But even they have come to realize that your probiotics help with pancreatic cancer. They looked at the probiotics, the bacteria inside the cancer cells, and they looked at the probiotic of the patient. Guess what? Identical. It shouldn't be identical. Both pathogenic. When they corrected, now listen to this is very important, guys. This is very important. They corrected the probiotics by giving probiotics and natural food, just not vegetables, broccoli, kale, spinach to the patients. Fiber. They increased their fiber, and they did this study was in a group. They increased part of their fiber 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. In less than a few months, they realized it's unethical to deprive these people 5%, 10%, because they're living longer. The control group is dead and gone. The same cancer that is in this person that is eating the vegetables, the person is still living. The other guy is dead that was not eating fiber. They were getting processed food, Burger King,
What's
McDonald's. Fiber? Fiber like vegetables into vegetables.
So vegetables is fiber.
Vegetable equals fiber.
I see.
Not the kind of fiber that they give, the pediatrician just recently gave to one of my patients, Metamucil, to make him regular. People think, oh, you eat your fibers, you eat your grains, you're going to be regular. Excuse me, that's not how it works. Yes, it does make you regular. The thing is, it feeds the bacteria that if you take the number of stars in the galaxy, I'm going to just go to the astronomy now. Take the number of stars in the galaxy, we have billions of stars, right? Multiply that by 11 galaxies. our galaxy plus 11 others. That's the number of bacteria that lives in our gut, from the mouth, nose, mouth, and in our gut. 38 trillion bacteria that lives in our gut. These bacteria are living symbiotically with us, without which we would be dead. Cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, obesity, all kinds of issues. It will be dead. We will be dead. And all at once, the greens, the green vegetables, the nuts, the fruits, the legumes, and the green vegetables. That's what it needs.
Doctor, how much of your time do you spend convincing people? A lot, too much.
Well,
because it's so anti what they believe to think.
No, you know what? Actually, people are looking for. Here's the thing: they've lost complete trust on actually the medical community. Okay, but they understand that the fibers and vegetables and water and there's a life-giving thing. They understand that. But they say, doctor, for me to sit and make a salad, it's going to take me 15, 20 minutes. Okay? When I can grab something from the store shelf, it's going to take me 5 minutes, wash it. And I say to her, my dear, you grab the salad from the store shelf. You know what's in it?
Preservative.
Yes, pesticides. There is all kinds of issues. Plus, the guy who put his hand and packaged it. People with hepatitis, they develop hepatitis as a result of it. And even cabbages. You know, one of the most important bacteria that lives in your gut is lactobacillus. That lactobacillus that people say, lactose intolerance and all that, lactobacillus. What does that do? It's one of the most important. It's got 16 different species. All of that on one vegetable, cabbage. Once you wash the cabbage well, and then you put it inside vinegar and make sauerkraut. It helps your probiotics. Why they say eat your sauerkrauts. Now, it comes to a very important subject. Why is it important for you to take the vinegar? Because what it does, the vinegar breaks down the fibers, because we cannot, from a calorie standpoint, we cannot generate the enough calories from the vegetables. Except when you take the vegetable and combine it with the vinegar, it breaks down into free fatty acids. The chains, little tiny digestible basically molecules that end up going and feeding the probiotics. Mm-hmm. That the bacteria then produces the hormone that your brain needs.
Well, then do we have this issue about, I'm confused when people say acidity gives you cancer, you need more alkaline. Well, what's all that about? Alkaline water.
Yeah.
Acidity is not good, starved acidity, and then
okay.
If it's in vinegar, acid?
Yes. So is your stomach. Your acid, your stomach is pH is about 2.3.
Wow.
Very acidic. And but what is going on here? When you drink alkaline water, what happens? It neutralizes the acid that's in your stomach.
Which is not good.
Okay. It prevents you from absorbing your foods and digesting your foods. So it is hype. It is hype. It is wrong. Just like when they say, I don't know, I don't want to get into some sensitive subjects and things because of the tradition here. But the biggest disease here is autoimmune disease. And that autoimmune disease because of the amount of meat and chicken and fast food that's being consumed now. Our children are the future.
Doctor, are all calories the same?
No. Let's go back to the analogy of calories, right? Coca-Cola and carrots. Coca-Cola has the same amount of calories as carrots do, except the calories that you get from the carrots don't make you fat. They make you lean. You lose weight.
So not all calories are the same.
Calorie in, calorie out. You lose weight by reducing calorie. Bullshit. You don't. You don't lose weight by reducing calorie. When you eat vegetables, those vegetables and those free fatty acids and all these little organisms that are working, there is a place at the terminal ileum. They go there and they message the body, enough. And then after you start with a vegetarian diet, after about maybe 2-3 weeks, you realize that you don't have to do a pick-me-up in the middle of the day, or you don't have to reach for some donuts or some coffee or some. By the way, coffee is great for you, but not with milk, not latte. Black coffee only. When a coffee is roasted, it becomes all the nutritious part of it goes bad, dies. Just like when you do roasted peanuts or anything roasted is bad. Anything fried is abomination. You should never fry anything. Air fried better. 90% of the ingredients will stay. 10% die. Oil frying, 90% die. 10% of the nutrition stays. So please stop frying with vegetable oil, even with olive oil.
So not all calories are the same.
Not all calories are the same. Calorie in, calorie out. Like I said, compare the two. Coca-Cola will make you fat.
Why is it? Because it's got what's bad about that calorie and what's good about this calorie? Are you with me? Is the structure of the way the calories work?
Absolutely. Carrot doesn't cause insulin response that makes you fat.
What is a calorie?
Calorie is a unit
of energy.
It is burned to make ATP, what we call the body. See, ATP is something that the body needs to have because it will die in 3 seconds if there's no energy. So, come back to Coca-Cola. You give the Coca-Cola. What are you doing? You are calories in the form of sugar, even saccharin. They're all metabolized as sugar. Insulin response. So what does insulin response do? Insulin goes up. Then body goes, okay, it's time to start chopping up our proteins and fat and all of that to create energy. Because insulin is up, that's what it does. Whereas when you eat vegetables, and you get, 20 minutes later, or 2 hours later, or 3 hours later, have you noticed that? 3 hours, 2 hours later, and when the insulin drops, you go, oh boy, here's this, I need shakes. You need to get the shakes. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you eat vegetables, you can go for 2 days, not eat. I finish eating my meal 11 o'clock in the morning. I eat nothing after 11 o'clock until next day. I don't feel hungry. I don't get a headache. I don't get jittery. I don't get shaky. My body is energetic, and I have energy.
You drink a lot of water, right?
I drink a lot of water, coffee, green tea, 3 green teas. Now, when I say I don't eat, I'm talking about food, but like 3 kiwis. Kiwis repair your DNA. Powdered ginger, powdered garlic. Powdered garlic, in MD Anderson, they're using it to treat prostatic cancer because they've realized that garlic is helping with prostatic cancer and inflammation.
Doctor, testosterone. Tell me about testosterone.
Okay.
There's lots of people out there go to the gym. Do they need testosterone? Is it a balanced amount of testosterone? How much do they take before it's dangerous? Where do they get it from for it to be not dangerous, if there is such a thing?
Okay.
Can you build bulk at a certain age without testosterone?
Okay. The studies clearly show that you don't need that much testosterone. The amount, people that are in their 50s and 60s, they need testosterone a little bit more because of, I mean, listen, not me, I don't need testosterone for at the age of 70, but some people do. What that means is that their body is not able to produce the testosterone, which is a hormone. Where does the hormone come from? From the probiotics again, and from the testicles and gonads, right? Okay. Now, because of the level dropping, the free testosterone and total testosterone, a little bit of a boost for them will maintain their muscle fibers so that they do not become unbalanced. Because the older people get off balanced is because they lose their muscle fibers that control their balance. Those hydraulics won't work properly anymore because they're not there, and so on. So testosterone works for them. For younger people, I've got news for you. Testosterone causes multiple, including which is what they use. First of all, taking too much protein only makes you grow older much faster. Just an example. Why a very famous bodybuilder 5-6 years ago died of cancer here, right? Was a national hero. Okay, where does it come from? Why do these people that take these testosterones and these anabolic steroids drop dead at the age of 40 and 50?
All these wrestlers are all dying left, right, and center.
Brain cancer and all of this. If these things are so good for you, okay, why are they dying at the age of 40 and 50 at the peak of their level, and their body is like this, but they're dead? Why? Because it is, first of all, it's illicit drug. In the US is banned. Plus of the side effects that it has, and also the muscle does not need that in order to build up. What you need is a proper exercise that actually helps the muscle build what the body needs to stay healthy and balanced and vibrant and happy and energetic. So first, these coaches have incentive to inject steroids to people. They recommend steroids because they can get faster. You know, like what you were talking about. They get better faster with the antibiotics. They think, and then because they give them the steroids and they go push them. They push them. They keep pushing them because it's giving them false elevated energy, right? They're pushing them, and then but the person who's taking the steroids doesn't know, or the testosterone doesn't know. It's not the testosterone that's building the muscle; it's that activity that's doing that. But since it was done simultaneously, they say, oh, this because of the steroids, or because of the testosterone, and so on and so forth, which is a form of it. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of misinformation. Doctors don't know enough about it. They're not educated about it. You don't learn medicine from a book. You learn medicine from nature. Nature has all the medicines that we need. Except in a very acute situation. Acute heart attack, acute stroke, acute bleeding, accidents, you need to stop the exsanguination, or severe dehydration where you need to push these fluids into the person. It is that health is, the body can take care of itself. Dying is not a natural process. You die of a disease. If you eliminate the disease, you can live to be 200. With the advent of AI, it's coming. Except, not a lot of people are going to survive that because food is going to be scarce. Air is going to be the pollution and all these other things, wars and whatnot. And at the end of the day, who's going to be there? The ones that are going to live to be 200 years old or what have you. These are going to be people who are half robot, half human. And the way that's going to be is like, for instance, we are going to be very soon, in 5 years, we're going to be growing hearts. We're going to be growing ears. We're going to be growing limbs on a petri dish in a laboratory. It's being done with the advent of
So by
stem cells.
transplants, you call them half robots because the ear or the heart was produced in a laboratory.
No, it actually is electronic. Except is encased inside, like for instance, the scaffold. Let's say the scaffolding or the how do you say it? Okay, the frame. Okay, the frame is titanium, but the human cells go inside and they form the heart, the chambers, and all of that. But the frame is titanium.
Yes.
And it bounces. We can make the heart cells pump, not pump blood, but beat in a petri dish. You take stem cells, you give it the right environment, it starts going like this. Our body is the most amazing machine ever created.
So we're going to wrap up soon.
Sure.
This has been amazing, as always.
Thank you.
3 advice that you can give the listeners right now. I think one of them is just be aware of what you're eating, how you're living, and love your body again.
Yes.
Right? What advice would you give to the listeners? And finally, we're going to talk about how they can reach out to you.
Here's what I would do. Connect with nature. That's the first thing. Get your body, know your body, give it what it needs. Sleep well. Avoid electromagnetic devices around you, especially when you sleep. Expose yourself to the sun. And nature will protect you against all diseases. And eat well, of course. Avoid meat, dairy, chicken, eggs, things of that nature, animal proteins at all cost. More plant, whole food, grains, adacy, lentil, all these kind of things. And nuts and fruits, and sleep well. And stop you trying to, do the body what is not designed to do. To become a superhuman. I know a lot of superhumans who, some of them are my patients. And right now at grave danger. Why? Because of what they do to their body.
Beautiful. Love you
Be
very
well.
much. Thank you for saving my life and my family's. So thank you.
You are a person worth saving.
I salute you.
You are an amazing guy. You are a giving guy. You are a loving guy. And for selfish reason, I have to save you. Just because I love you so much.
I love you.
Thanks, sir.
See you next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.